you mentioned that there was a cookout at your house.
Yes.
Were Mr. Rogers, Miss Taylor, Mr. Severs present there?
Yes.
To your knowledge, had Mr. Severs and Mr. Rogers ever met before?
No, they had not actually met prior to that.
Did you ever see them associate or exchange pleasantries during the wedding festivities?
There was a lot going on. I think everybody talked to everybody, so specifically I can't remember an actual conversation, but...
Well, how big was this cookout?
10 people.
So it wasn't like hundreds of people?
No.
Okay. And then you said that there was a combined bachelorette party that night.
Yes.
And you said something about going out. What do you mean? What did you mean when you say you went out and had the combined bachelorette party?
It was... I could be missing a person or two, but I believe it was the same group that was at the house. We all went out.
Was it to like a
Yeah,
establishment of some kind?
Yes, it was a karaoke bar. My wife sings.
And so I'm guessing if you were at a karaoke bar, the genre sounds like it describes what y'all were doing there, singing and drinking.
Yes.
And was Mr. Rogers there?
Yes.
Was Mr. Severs there?
He was.
Was Miss Showmaker there?
Yes. If I can add something to that.
Well, let me just ask you another question.
Okay.
Okay. So how soon after the wedding festivities, the bachelorette party, how soon after that was the actual wedding?
It was the next morning. That same group of people, we all stayed at my house that night so that we could all be together in the morning. The wedding was started at noon, and because it was in the park, there was a lot of things that had to be set up. I got chairs and tables from our church, and we had bought the meat through a friend of mine's little grocery store, and so that had to be picked up. There was, things that needed to be done. We had planned on meeting back over at the at the park about 9 o'clock that morning.
Okay, and so let me back up to spending the night at your at your place.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers spent the night
Yes.
at your place. Miss Showmaker spent the night as well,
Yes.
and Mr. Severs spent the night.
Yes.
Did Mr. Severs stay at your place during his entire visit in Hillsborough or Jefferson County, Missouri during that time?
No.
He stayed somewhere else?
Yes.
Where did he stay?
I'm not sure exactly what day he flew in, but I know that the entire day before we got together, he spent at his he owns a condominium up there, and that he's had rented out. Still has a lot of things stored in the garage from life. So
if your wedding was you said May 2nd,
yes.
and then so that means that the festivities would have been on May 1st.
Yes, Friday night.
And so if it was the day before the festivities, it would have been what? There's 30 days in April. Is it 30 or 31 days in April? I think it's 30 days in April. Would have been April 30th, whatever the last day in April is.
Okay.
Okay. Should have looked at a calendar before I asked that question. During the when everybody spent the night at your place, the night before the wedding, did Miss Showmaker, Mr. Rogers, and Mr. Severs appear to associate at all? Have any discussion?
Yeah, I mean, everybody was talking, so.
You didn't observe a friendship develop between Mr. Severs and Mr. Rogers during that weekend, though, did you?
No.